if you're using astrology at all, without even knowing it, you're missing a lot of the empowerment that you can get. There are advanced astrology topics that I don't find anybody talking about, and I rarely get a chance to talk to people about it because there's so much more that needs to happen before you're prepared to hear it. There's some people I've shared these things with. This one is simpler and gradually builds as you dive deeper into it. There are some people that will debables and they'll use statements of being regarding their chart. I'm this way because my thing is that. My Saturn is in this location or in this sign. Or they'll say, I'm a Scorpio, I'm a Taurus. Or they'll look at different astrological systems and some of them arc the chart. And so like in Vedic, you might be a zodiac sign before the sign that you are in a tropical system. And there's ways of reading that where both are true. If you look at Vedic, you get a much more spiritual understanding of it. If you look at the tropical, you get a much more physical, tangible, real world way of looking at it, which is why I use the tropical system for the work that I do, because I'm helping people in the physical world. That doesn't mean I don't factor in other things. But if somebody dives into it and switches systems and then they defend their label in the other system, they're missing the point. You're not a label. You're more than that. What I care about is, are you using the astrology as a map? I used to say to create the life that you want. Now what I started saying more recently is to live the life that you love. And as you factor in the DeMartini work, to love the life that you live. It's both. You're not actually creating the life, but you're loving the life that you live and living the life that you love, which is deep and profound when you actually think about it. These are things that most people won't think about, but my clients will. My clients will. Because they realize the power. They realize the power behind it. What I care about is, what are you doing with that information within your life? Because I can give you examples of how I used it to help people get clients. I can give you examples for how I used it to help people find their partners. I can give you examples for how I used it to help parents communicate and raise their kids. I can give you examples for how there were massive communication breakdowns and I could use the chart to help them actually uncover what's really going on and getting the elephant out of the room. I can use it to explain navigating a variety of things. So whenever I hear somebody say, I am this, or they're using the words of being regarding the chart, they'll usually say like, I am this, or, so first of all, here's the advanced understanding of this, twofold. Everything that you could possibly sense from any of the signs in your chart, any of the signs, any of the planets, any of the range of expression that any of these can have, we have it all. All of us have it all. If you look hard enough, you'll find it. So if you move from one system to another and you start believing in another system, well, you just looked for what that system was saying and then you found it. But the crazy thing is, you could look for that in every system, across every planet, across every sign, and you would actually find it there too. It's a deeper understanding. The whole point is to bring you back to wholeness. So for some people, if it requires them switching systems to find the wholeness, great. For my clients, I dive deeper into the tropical system and I bring a depth with topics that people don't talk about in order to bring that wholeness up. And using the DeMartini method to help with that. What I will say too with clients is, what am I observing tangibly? So I'll say, okay, you have this in this location in your chart. But then I say, here's what this is saying about what to do or what's going on in the dynamic of the energy and what we actually need to do to be able to move forward. As opposed to, oh, that makes sense. You have this here. Yeah, of course. Oh yeah, you're going to manifest partners that don't love you because you have Saturn in the 7th house. What the heck are you talking about? Saturn in the 7th house, I can see how the person might actually say that. But What is Saturn in the seventh house? It's an energy that represents work in your relationship, often related to the father. Often, so I would want to look at the parent relationship as well. And it's also about bringing energy into the earth, into the physical realm. And so what do you want to create in your relationship together in the seventh house with a partner? Because that's bring Saturn, the glyph of Saturn in a chart opens up downward. Jupiter opens up to spirit. So when you have Saturn, it's opening up to the earth. So it's very important to look at, what are we doing? What do we want to create here? Instead of taking the label of, well, of course their relationships have been crappy. You have Saturn there. You can't do anything with it. I spend a lot of time cleaning up other people's stuff. They go to other astrologers and then they come to me and they're like, this is what I was told. Or I tell them what it is. And then they eventually tell me, oh, another astrologer said this. So it's not that. I'm like, no. Like this, here's an empowering way to look at it. And I bring it back to the actual action. Don't pay attention to the label. Look beyond the label. Figure out beyond what a certain placement is. What are you actually going to do with that information? Right? 2 is you have everything. We all do, across all of the planets, across all of the signs. So it's not that one system is right or wrong. It's that when you look hard enough, you find it. And for some people, experimenting with other systems can lead them to that. For some people, it's the depth. You'll see some people will do a lot with a little, and some people will do a little with a lot. And both get you to that wholeness and that authenticity. I'm just saying you can get beyond, you can get even more empowered when you realize that you have everything across the entire chart. You have all the planets, all the signs, all the houses in your life. The whole chart is you, right? But then it becomes about, how do we use it as a map? What actions are we taking? When somebody gives me, well, my chart has this, I go, great, what are you going to do with the information? One of my clients loves bringing up his chart, and I love it too. What are you going to do with that? Because if you're making it a story that you're that way because of that, then you're missing the whole point of uncovering it in the first place. There is a ton that you can do with your chart. There is a ton you can do with your chart. And then when I bring my own knowledge into it, which is stuff that people don't talk about. Oh, sometimes people will take ways of reading charts and think it applies to different systems, and it doesn't. It doesn't. Each system has a way of reading it for its purpose. But sometimes if you're going to cross-read, and if you don't know the rules, it's going to help you discover a meaning behind it. So it's all good. It's just I'm trying to give you the most direct way there. Not necessarily a straight line, but the most direct way. So if you want to really dive into this, if you're already into astrology a lot, I would suggest you make a list of everything that you know about all the signs, all the planets, all the signs, the houses, and the aspects. Everything that you know, what you perceive to be good or bad. It's neither good nor bad, here to tell you. And own it. Where do you have all that stuff? Where have you already demonstrated it? And the power becomes... So for me, the power with having the chart is I see the way that they interact, the energies interact, the way you're likely to perceive. And when you're talking and we're talking about scenarios, my gift is which energy is being activated. And then I know what we need to actually do. Because the doing is unique. The action steps are unique. I can't just tell you if this happens and you have this placement, do this. No, it's the whole chart, and it's about your unique perception of it. That's why I do astrology and DeMartini together. And that's why I bring my unique depth to it and my unique vision on the chart to it. So that as we're talking, I can see literally what energy is being activated and guide you in the action steps to get there. My clients... The clients I'm working with right now, to get them their partners, They all have the same goal. The action steps are all different. Can't you centralize the action steps? At a bigger picture level, they're the same. But when you make them more specific, they're unique to the individual for how that person perceives and expresses. And I know that depending on where the resistance is, I know that that's where we need to dive into the perception. The process of going through it, the tasks that I give, is going to bring up where the actual issue is. What's actually been keeping them stuck. I've gotten really close to letting 2 of them go by basically saying, I don't think you actually want a partner here. And then they're like, yeah, I do. And I'm like, okay, then maybe you're meant to just learn it all through trial and error out in the dating field. And they're like, no, like we want to do it this way. We understand the value in this. Okay, then here's what you need to do for next week. And we'll see what happens. Because I know we're bumping up against the real issue. And I know that if they stay with me, we get through it. But if they want to give up on themselves, then they're going to get through it in a different way. I have no attachment to if they go through it with me or not. Can't use them as a case study if they don't go all the way through. But then it just tells me a bunch of things about how I need to structure the business. So I don't mind. It's all good. So whenever somebody says, I have this, or I thought it, and they're using being, or they're using the placement as an excuse, just ask them, what are you going to do with that information? How does it serve you to know this information? And if they're resisting, and if they come into new information, like they tested out a different system, how does it serve you to know about multiple systems? How does it serve you that you saw that you were this sign in a different system and you're this sign in this system? How does it serve you to know that you're both? You are both. You're all of them. But some people want to believe that they're one or the other. It's funny because they'll go through it and they'll experience it through different systems, and then they still think they're the one that they're focused on, as opposed to realizing all of them are true. So the deeper understanding there is everything in an astrology chart is you. If you look at, this comes up in relationships a ton, because if somebody knows astrology and they look at their partner's chart and they're like, I don't want somebody with this placement, I have to go, why not? Oh, because then they're going to be like that. Are they? And where have you had an experience where that occurred? Oh, with this guy, this ex, or this person, or this friend of mine who had a partner with that placement and it turned out like this. Well, we're talking about completely unrelated things. Let's work on the past perception. And balance it out using a DiMartini method. And my understanding of your chart at a level of depth. And then let's step forward and see. Because if you balance out that, either this guy who has that placement is either going to disappear, or you're just not even going to see that in that person when you talk to him. Or you can't find a partner with a perfect chart because they're all perfect. You're not going to find a partner with exactly the placements that you want and not the placements that you don't. The placements that you don't want, when you're looking at it, become part of the work that we do. If somebody knows astrology is coming to me and they go, well, that person has this, I'm going to drill into it. We're going to find out where that was an issue for them in their past. We're going to find out what they believe that perception, that placement represents. And then we're going to address it. Because one of the other things is they probably don't own for themselves that they're doing exactly what that placement is. For example, I had a partner once who moved, like almost has lived in every single state, I believe, at this point. I wanted to kind of plant roots in one. So I had to look at, where am I moving around a bunch? So she had a placement in her chart that was very, I want to move around my home, like go and travel and do a variety of things and live in different places. And I had a placement in my chart, which is I'm going to plant roots in one place. But I had to look at, where do I move around? And I realized I was doing that in business. I was trying out a variety of ideas instead of just owning the thing I've already been helping people with. And then you meet entrepreneurs and business people ahead of me that are like, why don't you just do the thing that you've been doing and double down on it? Which is what I'm doing now. But they were telling me that thing about business, same thing. So I had to own the fact that, yeah, I do move around too. And then I get my partner, my life partner, who had a placement in her chart that when I saw it, I thought, am I going to be running my old pattern? Am I going to be doing what I did with an ex that had this same placement. And then I realized, no, I'm not, because now understand how that served me in the previous relationship. And therefore, this is a chance to leverage the strengths of that place. It comes up a lot in relationships and finding a partner. And so there's so much depth to this that I'll use what I need to use for you to help you in your unique journey, between my gift of seeing the chart and being in this space for a while, as well as using the astrology and the DeMartini method to help you. So if you want to know more information about how I do that, check out the link in the description below. Questions or comments, put them below. We'll talk again soon. Take care.